So, I'm here with Fung. What's your full name?
Fung.
Fung?
Yeah.
Okay. And we are in Koch at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
at the intensive, and I have this first question,
Yes.
which is like,
Please.
for a lot of constellators it's very difficult.
Ah. Okay.
It's namely to, how do you explain like constellations to someone that doesn't know about it?
Okay.
And also, what does constellations mean to you? So.
Okay. So the question is actually is a normal question, especially from a country, China.
Yeah.
Okay. So we explain in different ways. For ordinary people, and also I explain in a way that young people
Yeah.
can understand.
Yeah.
So there's actually two parts.
Yeah.
One part is about the methodology.
Yeah.
The other part is about the theory.
Yeah.
Okay. About the methodology part is quite easy actually. You know the constellation. We use representative
Yeah.
to represent the members of family
Yeah.
in a real family,
Yeah.
in a real clan. Okay, for a real clan. And from there we understand something about that family,
Yeah.
and we do something for them, and the family change, religion change.
Yeah.
They may get more healthier,
Yeah.
more love flowing,
Yeah.
and the much more harmony
Yeah.
bringing into the family.
Yeah.
That is the result. Okay.
Yeah.
But usually
Yeah.
the people will not challenge the result. They can see the positive result effect on the client,
Yeah.
on the client's relationship, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they are challenged and they doubt how people can represent somebody else.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
is the only thing that's the most important thing, or
Okay.
the only, or the most important.
Yeah. So they're not challenging the result, but they're
They're challenging how is that possible?
How it works. Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Is that possible, or is that real?
Yeah.
So in this way, I use a metaphorical way to
Yeah.
explain constellation.
Yeah.
What is representation?
Yeah.
Okay. And metaphor is
Yeah.
we may consider each of us.
We may.
Each of us
Yeah.
as a iPhone,
Yeah. Okay.
a mobile communication device.
Yeah.
Okay. And each of us, we have our programs.
Yeah.
We have our iOS.
Yeah.
We have our data.
Yeah.
That equivalent to our mental model.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, but if I and you suppose two iPhone, how
Yeah.
we can know each other? We need to go online.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have a lot of data out there online.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the data on your iPhone,
Yeah.
they will not disappear because everything is backing up somewhere up
Yeah.
there. We call it iCloud drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if you try to represent me,
Yeah.
or you want to understand my data,
Yeah.
you know my data.
Yeah.
So what you need
Yeah.
is not really change your phone.
No.
You don't need to steal my thing,
No.
my phone.
No.
I just need to give you username
Yeah.
and the password.
Yeah.
That means I give you authorization. Then
Yeah.
from your device you can download my data
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in this case, I would explain this way. You know, representation is actually a client allows somebody else
Yeah.
to download data from their family iCloud drive.
Ah. Great. Yeah.
So data we download and we add out
Yeah.
the information you may call the part of human consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we consider, actually that's really a real change in our definition of human consciousness. Okay, if we think human consciousness just belong to individual,
Yeah.
this would not happen.
Yeah.
But if we change our definition, human consciousness is kind of iCloud human consciousness.
Yeah. So actually, you're also saying that once we like update some of our own software, then
Exactly. So
it might update
Yes.
something up there. So.
no matter you want it or not,
Yeah.
iPhone will download something
Yeah.
out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Even though you don't want it, you
Yeah.
download here.
Yeah. And there's apps on it that
There's
you
apps
don't
on
want.
it. Yeah, you
it,
don't want a lot of
Yeah.
access
Yeah.
apps and you unwanted advertising,
Yeah. Exactly.
virus,
Yeah. Exactly.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when you accidentally download some bug
Yeah.
programs,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if you download some virus,
Yeah.
excessive data,
Yeah.
then you got a bad shape.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
iPhone got a bad shape.
It becomes very slow.
You're very slow and
slow
become
working.
useless.
Yeah, exactly.
Useless.
Yeah.
So in a human being, that means if you really download some data
Yeah.
from other people,
Mm-hmm.
for example, in your family,
Mm-hmm.
you download too much data from your grandmother, for example, or
Yeah.
grandfather,
Yeah.
then the data will be fully occupied the whole iPhone.
Yeah.
You may think yourself like a grandfather.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we call identification.
Yeah.
Actually the kind of representation is that we represent
Yeah.
somebody else,
Yeah.
and that we download too much data of somebody
Mm-hmm.
in our daily life.
Yeah.
So the constellation is really about how we see these downloading procedures,
Yeah.
how much data we download,
Yeah.
and we just take something useful, we
Yeah.
keep it there,
Yeah.
and those virus and those bug programs we
Yeah.
fix there,
Yeah.
here, down here, and we upload again,
Yeah.
and every time we change up there.
Yeah.
So that would can explain why we do something here
Yeah.
and something happen the other way.
Ah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, because it's online.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody is considered as a part of iCloud.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we're doing here, we
Yeah.
upload the program,
Yeah.
and the program will affect everybody.
Yeah.
So that's my explanation on the methodology
Yeah.
of constellation.
Mhm.
In this way of explanation, we need to assume in a metaphorical way,
Yeah.
human consciousness
Yeah.
actually connects with each other.
Yeah.
Is more like an iCloud,
Yeah.
and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So if we want to connect somebody,
Yeah.
we just need to know
Yeah.
username, password, authorization,
Yeah.
then we can download.
Yeah.
So that was a radical change. It's a radical change of definition, I think,
Yeah.
to human consciousness.
I can imagine it's the most concrete explanation I've had so far.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Okay.
So, with regards to this interconnections,
Yeah.
there's also like a wider community of facilitators,
Yeah.
systemic coaches, trainers, and
Yeah.
what you have.
Yeah.
And so I'm quite curious, like how you feel connected to that wider community.
At the moment, I connect mostly with the constellator in my own country.
Yeah. Okay. So that's China, right?
It's China, yes. Actually, I invite a lot of people to China.
Mm-hmm.
I invite Hellinger
Yeah.
himself to Hong Kong 2006.
Yeah.
I've been working as his translator
Yeah.
over 3 years' time.
Yeah.
At least 3-4 workshops is
Yeah.
I translate
Yeah.
for him. Okay, and then I invite people like Gunther Weber,
Yeah.
Hunter Bermond,
Yeah.
Jakob Schneider,
Yeah.
Albert Ma, Helen Breuer,
Yeah.
and Wilfred Nellis, Gunin Basa, Victoria Schnee, and actually a lot of people
Yeah.
is on my invitation. I
Yeah.
invite them to China to do training there.
Yeah.
So on that level, it's very okay. The
Yeah.
connection is very okay.
Yeah.
But from the perspective of connecting with the community
Mm-hmm.
outside China,
Mm-hmm.
for example, Europe
Yeah.
and America
Yeah.
and South America or other places,
Mm-hmm.
it's not there yet.
Yeah.
Not there yet. At the moment, I cannot find common
Mm-hmm.
things to come together.
Yeah.
In my own imagination, is that maybe in the future there will be some conference,
Mm-hmm.
more conference
Mhm.
on the community.
Yeah.
Maybe this year in international one. This year maybe in Europe.
Yeah.
Maybe next year will be in America,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes maybe 1 year in Asia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In this way, we can actually get community together.
Mm-hmm. It's like a global community.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that works better, I believe.
Yeah.
In this community, it's actually about how we can share our own experience, and we can see a lot of different ways of working.
Mm-hmm.
And also, last year we actually set up an association
Yeah.
of systemic constellation inside China.
Okay. Yeah.
We have our academy,
Okay,
also
yeah.
the first time ever,
Okay. Great.
and we have our own curriculum. We have our own standard. We even have some written tests for the people who learn constellation nationwide.
Okay.
That's first time in China as well. So this kind of things actually it is nice. It would be nice if the wider community can come together. We can share whatever we have already. And we complement each other. And I think that's good.
Yeah. So that's also my question. What would you invite the wider community to do more of, or to do less of? Like, is that this thing, like sharing more?
Yes, I would like to share more. Okay, sharing more is a good way, and it is also the first generation constellator. They have done a lot. At the same time, there's still something not sufficient enough. For example, the teaching structure.
The what?
The teaching or training structure. What would be the necessary knowledge? What's the common knowledge that needs to be there?
Yeah, I agree.
And the second part of it is that it's cultural specific. Some knowledge just specific to certain culture. That is different. So for the first part, actually not yet there. Some years ago, I worked with ISCA. I was the chairman of curriculum committee. Actually at that time I proposed something. We have a list of that. And but I don't know what's the progress later on. So it would be nice that we have some kind of exchange. We don't need to, at the moment, if communities, of course, it's nice to grow in diverse way. At the same time, we can come together, not necessarily agree on something, but we share something. We pick out some common element, something. I think that would be good. It will be saving time and energy. And that will become a worldwide or more common standard. That would be good for the community. That's my vision. That's my idea about this, about the future. How we can work with community. It is not really about we learn from this or learn from that, but we exchange. We have the dialogue. We have this sharing.
Yeah,
so
nice, I happen to know that they're working on this now, I think, so it will be, I hope to hear more about it as well. With regards to like the bigger trends, like the community and its involvement, like how it has developed, is there something you're like particularly excited about? This is the last question, by the way.
Actually, for example, in this conference, in this intensive, I realize there's more young people are joining the workshops and join the training. And actually, this is not very usual here. It's unlike China. China, most of people join my workshop around 30, 40 years, from 25 to 40 years old. Pretty young generation. But in the worldwide community, what I saw, maybe the first generation of facilitator, they are already over 70 years old.
That's right.
And the second one, 60 or 50.
That's true.
That's true. So I got excited in a way that now the younger generation has come up. They are more energetic. More creative. And also the different ways of expressing constellation is a lot of variety. And those variety actually come from the younger group, not from the older group. I think it's very nice. That's one point, the younger generation come up. And the second point I would like to say is that up to this moment, for example, family constellation, we usually look back on the family history, personal history, family history, and to see what traumas what guilt, what kind of things we have gone through, what kind of burden now in our body.
Yeah.
Okay, and now we can, with this technology, we can either face our guilt or shame, or we can relieve ourselves from trauma,
Yeah.
or we can heal ourselves, and we can also develop a certain kind of personality structure out of it.
Yeah.
Some kind of spiritual enlightenment also.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's it. How about future? Okay, this is something I really like to mention is that now there's not much constellation about future.
Yeah.
The problem of the Earth or human species, human race is facing.
Yeah. Yeah.
If, for example, they are going to weather going to change, the climates change, the Earth is destroyed. What's the point of doing conservation?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you're always going back to history. Why? That what would be the future of the family constellation or constellation? In organization, it's easier,
Yeah.
But in the human system, relationships is not that clear yet.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll just give you an example. In China, traditionally, man is powerful than women. Okay, the cultural concept is the women is inferior to men, and now it's changing. Okay, women's are coming up quickly, and even the social status just as is of the man, or even higher.
Okay.
And we have we have this population ratio.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very interesting statistic. Men 130,
Yeah.
women 100. That's the ratio.
Okay. Yeah.
So that means in the future, that's much more men than women.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not uncommon now that the ladies, they tend to have two men. One at home, one is outside. So that they have men inside the home at home, and just lover, whatever, outside.
Yeah. I don't know. Like.
Yes, it's
Okay.
quite true.
Okay.
That it's a social phenomenon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just because the ratio of men and women just differs so much.
Yeah.
So in this way, that means that in the next 30, maybe 50 years, there will be a radical change in this, for example, Chinese family system.
Yeah.
The women's positions moving up and men's positions moving down, and what would be the implication for the coming generation? The kind of order of love based on one man, one woman, that's the nuclear family one,
Yeah.
is something maybe facing change, radical change,
Yeah.
according to this social movement or just social change.
Yeah.
So there's something about it, but still no. So far, I can see little,
Yeah.
research or investigation, exploration about all these things.
Yeah.
So I believe that in the future they are going to change a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe just no one man or one woman.
Yeah.
Maybe have some variation of family system coming up.
Yeah.
You have homosexual couples. You have this maybe multiple type of marriage.
Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah.
So in face of this kind of social changes, what would be the correct order of love?
Yeah.
It's very difficult to say.
Yeah.
But we are really facing this kind of things in the future.
Yeah.
How we can, in this kind of social environment, how we can deal with our partners, what happens to our children, what would be the more appropriate for them, their growth, what will be the future generation, stuff like that. It's very interesting. And I think those things challenge are quite imminent.
Yeah.
We need to face that.
So, well, I'm curious. Keep me updated,
Okay.
and see you then.
See you. Okay.
Okay, see you then.
So,
Thank
see
you.
Thank you very much.